Hey all, welcome to my channel. It is me, MsNoBuntu, DIVA, a divinely inspired, vibrantly anointed artist. I am back again, and I want to let you know that I will start to review Taraji P. Henson's show. I will put the name of her show right here, or her series, from this week actually. So Taraji has this show. It's called This, and she's on there with her best friend from way back when, and it's a series about the journey from mental unwellness to mental health and what mental unwellness is. So particularly this week they were talking about post-traumatic stress disorder. And, you know, in my words, I would say post-traumatic stress disorder is that a trauma happens, something that traumatizes you as a human being happens, and it jerks you on all levels, on a spiritual, physical, and emotional level. That jerk creates a stamp and a memory of that trauma within yourself, and then long after that trauma has passed on, certain things trigger that are similar to that trauma, things that might not even be similar to that trauma, but typically things that are a reminder of that trauma, trigger you in a certain way to respond with fight or flight, to respond in a way as to protect yourself against whatever you are perceiving to be yet another thing that's going to bring trauma to you or harm to you. That's what I understand about post-traumatic stress. The stress is that you have heightened kind of senses and sensitivity against anything that could potentially bring trauma and bring harm to you, and your instincts are typically on point, but sometimes you're a bit off, but because there's that heightened sense of self-protection within yourself, everything that might even remotely begin to give an inflection of this could be a traumatic experience coming my way, your cells, your emotions, your spirit is going to tell you, oh, here it comes again, you know, and then it gives you a reaction physically. You get a reaction physically, you get a reaction emotionally, you get a reaction spiritually, and that's not necessarily a horrible and bad thing. But also I think what's interesting, the thing about post-traumatic, the stress disorder that happens after a traumatic experience is that jerk that happened, that caused for the stamp to happen in your spirit, in your body, in your soul, to happen, to be transmuted and into a different kind of energy that doesn't cause a post-traumatic stress disorder in your life, but also be transmuted and released out of you, so that you're not living in some kind of perspective of the world that is ruled by that traumatic experience. So Gabrielle Union was on here, and another young lady. I will put her name on here if I have an opportunity. But I mean, it starts with Taraji and her best friend, and they both share their own, you know, anxiety, trauma type experiences. And what was very interesting to me, that I could really relate to when they were talking to Gabrielle Union, you know, Taraji asked her, how does it show up in your body? And she says, well, when I feel that way, I feel a numbing in my right arm. And then she said a different other, you know, physical symptoms. And I thought, yeah, I've experienced, as a, you know, I had my trauma, my part of my trauma story is, you know, being domestically abused by a narcissistic, you know, narcissism is domestic abuse. It's abuse, but it's not that they were beating me up, but it's a, you know, a spiritual assassination type of abuse. And so I've had two of those so far, but the first one that I ever, three of those so far, but the second one was the most traumatic to me. This is where you being, you're losing financially, but illegally, and someone is putting you in a position financially where you're now going to be kind of unstable because they are moving from that narcissistic place. So that's my part of my trauma story. That was traumatic to me. So every time that I see that type of person, my reaction, I'm very alert to what not to give a narcissist and what to give a narcissist, how not to interact with a narcissist and how to interact with a narcissist. I don't know if I don't think so, but I don't think I react from a place of pain anymore, a place of trauma anymore, but I certainly can spot it and I can smell it a mile off, and I know how to stand in to readjust my posture and stand in a posture of power and authority so that I don't have to be the one who gets picked for the play by the narcissist. And so, and in speaking about those physical ways that trauma, re-traumatization experience kind of culminates itself sometimes when faced with certain anxiety-inducing circumstances, I thought about some of the symptoms that I've been experiencing in some parts of this year. I wouldn't say that this entire year has been an anxiety riddled year. For a good amount of time, I was okay, even though there were horrible things that happened that were traumatic, that were almost traumatic at the beginning of this year. It's almost like God was protecting me, and He made sure that I was not going to be at the receiving end of a narcissist again and be abused by a narcissist again. So He took me out of a situation before it got to that heightened sadistic place that narcissists go to, and that heightened malicious place that narcissists go to. God quickly took me out of that. He told me in January, I need you to get out of this situation. And I was like, but it doesn't make sense. You gave me this situation. You fought for me to have this situation. It's like, yeah, but I need you to get out of it right now. And I was like, you're going to have to get me out of it, because I don't know if I'm hearing you correct. It doesn't make sense. So make it make sense. And He got me out of it. By allowing certain things, and therefore revealing the heart of the person who I was working with. And I was then based at home, just working from home and continuing with my work from home and with my own work from home. And, everything was fine up until maybe March, May, June. Things started to get really horrible because I was living next to, yet again, narcissistic neighbors, people who were, very jealous that they could see that I wasn't in any kind of distress about this whole pandemic. I was okay. I was financially okay. I had a lot of work to do, and I was minding my business and getting on with that work and just living my life peacefully, quietly, minding my own business, And so I was thinking about the physical symptoms, and the physical symptoms that I experience is that I become really tired whenever I become exhausted, like the kind of symptoms like chronic fatigue syndrome, where I'm really, really tired, whether I sleep enough, whether I don't sleep enough, whether I rest, whether I don't rest. You're just fatigued. The moment I'm fatigued and no amount of rest gets through, then I know that, okay, this is a post-traumatic stress response that I'm having to something that's happening around me. Sometimes my right arm goes numb. One of the ways that I also found a physical reaction was that, my right eye would feel like it's is going blind. And I wouldn't, I remember the first instance where the abuse from the nurses that I was dealing with, not in a relationship, this is at work, was being really abusive and just being really malicious. I started to feel like I'm losing my eyesight, and I kept telling people, and I was telling people to have them say to me, to give me permission to go, to leave. But they wouldn't tell me to leave. They were like, I would tell them I'm literally losing eyesight in my right eye. And they would say, just find a way around it. And I would say, what do you mean find a way around it? I'm losing sight in my right eye, and I'm going to have to find a way around it because of because of a job, because of an income. Surely this is not the best God has for me, And so Taraji spoke about how she used to, her anxiety used to come through in the form of nail biting her nails down to the, to the cuticle, really. And she said when she moved to Hollywood and she was there for a number of years, she noticed that after a number of years, she stopped biting her nails. And she was asking, I wonder why I stopped biting my nails. I don't bite my nails so much anymore. And somebody said to her, it's because you're healing. You're healing from that traumatic experience that caused an anxiety and a stress disorder, anxiety flare up within yourself that caused you to bite your nails. Now you're healing. And so and the second lady as well just recounted her own story. And I think what I took from this particular episode, I'm really looking forward to the next episode, but what I took particularly from this episode is that I'm not crazy. I haven't been crazy all along. The things I've been experiencing have been post-traumatic stress disorders from traumas that have been that I've been subjected to, and that is, and I always knew, but you're always looking for people to kind of corroborate and come into agreement with you. But people are scared. People are scared of not having an income. People are scared of calling a thing a thing. I always knew, and what I got from this episode is to trust how you feel and to move in the wisdom of that warning sign, because that's a warning. When your arm goes numb, that's a warning sign. When you're losing eyesight in your right, when I'm losing eyesight in my right eye, that's a warning sign. When your arm, any part of your body goes numb, that's a warning sign that whatever context you are in, circumstance you're in, you're not in a healthy circumstance, and it's going to kill you, and that you need to make the best decision for your health, for yourself, for your soul, for your spirit, and for your physical body, literally. And that's what I really took from this episode, that I haven't been crazy all along, and to trust myself more, to trust myself, not more, I've always trusted myself, but to trust myself despite not having other people agreeing with me, to trust myself and go with the wisdom of the warning from the body, warning from the spirit, warning from the soul, however that symptom comes across, to tell you that this is not where you're supposed to be, this is not who you're supposed to be around, this is not what you're supposed to be going through, to trust the wisdom of that. God is not always going to speak to us in that small, still voice that you discern, oh, that was God speaking to me. Sometimes he speaks in a symbolic manner, that he'll allow a symptom to come through in your body. I'm out in the forest, y'all, so excuse the noises in the background. Look at that. So my lesson has been just to trust yourself and what you're experiencing and what your body is telling you, and to not wait for someone else to come into agreement with it, and trust that there is wisdom in your own intuition, and that there is wisdom to protect you, to love you, to serve you, to counsel you out of what is toxic, in your own discernment, in your own instinct. that's what I learned from this particular episode, that continue to trust my own discernment and instinct. And because that has the best, because your instinct and your discernment has the best thoughts in mind for you. It has the best intentions for you. You know, it's a protective instinct and it is a peace-seeking instinct, and to always trust your instinct because it is advocating the best thing for you. In the midst of a lot of confusion, in the midst of, you know, a lot of voices, in the midst of a lot of views, you know, because people will tell you where you're going to find another job if you leave this job just because you have a horrible boss. God specializes, you know what I mean? And so that's what I took from this episode, this first episode. I think I'm going to enjoy this show. I think this is a part of this journey that I am on right now, and I am so pleased that you are here with me on it, and I look forward to seeing the episode with Tamar Braxton and see what she has to say, and I'd like to, you know, expand on some thoughts on that as well. And yeah, if you have anything to say regarding trauma, post-traumatic stress disorder, please say so in the comment section. Let me know what your thoughts are. Go and watch the show, get the details, get exactly what they were talking about, and come back here and let's talk. Otherwise, I have to go. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you again next time. I really appreciate you for tuning in and continuing to come back. I hope all these videos are very helpful to you. They are most certainly very healing to me, and I hope you're experiencing the same kind of you know, healing experience that I am as you watch these videos and are getting better as time goes on. So I'll see you again next time. Thank you for watching. Bye from the wild. Bye.